Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our Bhagavad Gita study today. Let's start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapatakamelam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatrapadamaham mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramanandamadavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyameshwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in. We are on chapter number 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So in this chapter 8, we saw how Arjuna is inquiring from Lord Shri Krishna. What is Brahman? What is the self? What are the fruit of activities? What is Prakriti? Who are the demigods? Please explain them to me. Who's the Lord of all sacrifices? How can somebody who is engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Like this, he was asking so many questions, the first 2 verses of this chapter. And then Krishna starts answering Arjuna, right? He's talking about what is Adhyatma, what is the self, and how the Brahman may refer to the living entity, but Parabrahman is referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Sometimes we say Brahman even for the living entity as well as the Lord, right? But then the distinction, Krishna himself gives the distinction, and Prabhupada explains in the purport, right? Adi Yajna means it represents the Paramatma or the super soul. So Brahman may refer to the living entity also, but the distinction is that Parabrahman, the Supreme Lord, is Parabrahman, right? So that means we are in control of all the activities within our body. Even that we are not in full control. That we exercise a certain amount of control, right? Like if we want, we can lift our hand. If you want, we can get up and go and do some things, etc. But ultimately, we are under the control or the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may exercise a certain amount of free will that has been given to us by the Lord. And then we went on to the most important verse 8.5, where Krishna says, you remember me at the time of death, you will come back to me. And then Krishna says, whatever you remember, that state you will attain without fail. So at 8.5, 8.6, very important verses. And then 8.7 is Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu. Therefore, Arjuna, right? Tasmat means a conclusive verse. That means we've discussed a lot of things. What is the conclusion? What is the conclusion? Always think of me in the form of Krishna and yet carry out your duty. My arpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasi asamshayaha. Maya arpita mano buddhir. I surrender your mind and intellect unto me, and then you will come to me without a doubt. And then mam anusmara yuddhyacha, very important line, right? We were discussing the other day how we're all fighting a battle with Maya every day, right? And then how are we supposed to fight this battle? Krishna is telling us for the 4.7, very important verse. Mam anusmara yuddhyacha. Think of Krishna, armor ourselves with Krishna consciousness by doing Brahma Murta chanting, and then spend the entire day in Krishna consciousness. And then Krishna says, one who constantly engages in remembering me is sure to reach me at the end of the life. How is it possible? Because if we remember Krishna throughout our life, definitely we will remember Krishna at the time of death. And that means going back home, back to Godhead. And then in the next verse, Krishna says, one can meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything. Right? Anoraniyamsam Mahato Mahyamsam. He is the oldest, he is the bigger than the biggest, he is the smaller than the smallest, he is the maintainer of everything, Janardhana. Right? And how to understand this? Only a devotee is able to understand this, because this is inconceivable. It cannot be understood by our material brain. How is the Lord can be bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, yet he is the source of everything? Very difficult to understand. Right? And a devotee who has faith in the Lord, engages in devotional service, then such a person at the time of death will certainly attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And then the various other processes also, like the uttering of Omkara and practicing celibacy, all those processes also ultimately lead us, the Brahmachari principle, etc., ultimately also lead us to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then when there is an easy way which is given to us, why not practice the easy way of simply chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and go back home, back to Godhead, rather than perform this tedious process of performing Ashtanga Yoga, then performing this, the chanting of the Omkara, going to the forest, meditating, etc. Because it is not possible to perfect our lives by those methods in this age of Kali. Why? Because there are no auspicious, purified things to perform yajnas. And even if a yajna is performed, right? We recently had the Ayush Homam and Shri Dhanvantari Yajna. So why are you performing yajna? You are saying there is no use, right? So whatever yajna we may perform, the main activity of such yajna should be the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Harinam Sankirtan, because Harinam Sankirtan is a yajna that is prescribed for this age of Kali. So any other yajna that we perform, everything is an offering to the Supreme Lord. He is Adi Yajna, he is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. So whatever else we may do, it has to be accompanied by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, to get the actual benefit of performing any yajna. So with that, let's continue from text number 12. Okay, let me share my screen. Devotees can raise your hands and then we can start off with text number 12. Okay, Vrishabhanu Kanya Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Mataji, in Sanskrit it is possible.
Okay, I cannot hear you. Others can hear?
Yes, I can hear.
I hope it's
Sanskrit.
not a speaker. 1 second.
Sarva dharman sarva dvarani sanyamya mano rida anirudhya cha ma murdani adhyatmanah pranam asthito yoga darshanam darhanam. Sarva dvarani, all the doors of the body, satyamaya, controlling, manaha, Mataji, manaha, the mind, Ridhi, in the heart, nirudhya, confining, cha, also, murdani, on the head, adhya, fixing, Atmanaha, of the soul, Pranam, the life air, Astitaha, situated in, Yoga, Darshanam, the yogic situation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The yogic situation is that the detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart, and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes himself in yoga. Purport. To practice yoga as suggested here, one first has to close the doors of all the senses, all the sense enjoyment. This practice is called pratyudhara, pratyahara, or withdrawing the senses from the sense objects. The sense organs for acquiring knowledge, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue and touch should be fully controlled and should not be allowed to engage in self-gratification. In this way, the mind focus on the mind focus on the where it is gone. Mind focus on the super soul in the heart, and the life forces is raised to the top of the head. In the 6th chapter, this process is described in detail. But as mentioned before, this practice is not practical in this age. The best process is Krishna consciousness. If one is always able to fix his mind on Krishna in devotional service, it is very easy for him to remain it and undisturbed transcendental trance or in samadhi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah. So how do we always remain in trance or transcendental samadhi? We're always remembering Krishna, engaging our mind in Krishna's devotional service. So in this chapter, a lot of yogic processes are also given. But then Prabhupada mentions in the purport of each of these verses how it is not practical to exercise all of this in this age of Kali. So why is Krishna saying these are also bona fide practices of yoga, right? And they were applicable. And in those times when people could exercise proper sense control, people could go to the forest and completely immerse themselves in the remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, for those people who can practice that, right, those who are not Kali Yuga Vasis, right, for those people, these also lead to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna only, right? All the paths, no. Like for example, the other day we said, if we take a train to Delhi, we'll go to Delhi. If we take a train to Hyderabad, we will go to Hyderabad, right? But what are we saying here? All these paths are leading to Krishna, because all of these paths are bona fide paths. They're all, different paths. One is very cumbersome. One is very, long method. Like the Ashtanga Yoga process also, starting from Yama, Niyama, things to do in favor of attaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, the to-dos and not to-dos. Those things are also there. All these are also given as per the Shastras. These are also processes which will lead us back to Krishna. But we don't know how many lifetimes it will take. Ashtanga Yoga, if we complete till Samadhi, that means Samadhi means complete absorption in the holy name of the Lord, in the form of the Lord, right? Complete realization of the Lord. If we're able to attain that in this life, then yes, we may go back to Godhead. But then in this age of Kali, we don't have it. It requires so many, like we see in Brahma himself did tapasya for thousands of years. And hardly 100 years is there in Kali Yuga, and hardly people live even till 100, isn't it? 70, 75, 80, that itself is really good lifespan to live for, right? Because we see, accidents because of famine, flood and fire and all of these things. Many people are simply dying like that only, especially in this age of Kali. Because that is Ayu is Prayan, Alpa Yusha Sabya. Alpa Ayush itself, many are passing away. Many are, losing their life because of bad habits, because of bad, all these fast foods and this quick food restaurants and all these things. Whatever may be the reason, right? People hardly live to be even 50, 55. Very difficult to see people right now, right? While we see some of our older generations, right? My grandmother is 90 plus, right? So because of their sattvic lifestyle and because of their sattvic habits, people, the generations above or even, the previous generation to that also, they are able to lead healthy lives and have long lives also because of their sattvic habits, right? But now in this generation, if we see, hardly people live, because of the bad habits and because of so many things, right? Because of the pollution of the environment, or whatnot. There's so many reasons why all these things are happening, right? So in this age of Kali, it is said, Hare Nama eva kevalam kalo nastyeva gatir anyatha. Right? In this age of Kali, simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we will get the benefit of performing all the yajnas. Right? So if you have the facility, we should perform the yajnas also. But then the most important ingredient of all such yajnas should be the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, should be Sankirtana Yajna in the association of devotees. That is what it is. Okay, let's move ahead. Text number 13. Okay, Sridhar Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Dandot Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Om Iti Ekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Ma Manusmaran Yaprayati Tejan Yegam Sayadi Paramam Gadim. Hare Krishna. Synonymous. Om, the combination of letter Om, Omkara, Iti, thus, Eka Aksharam, the one symbol, Brahma, absolute, Vyaharan, vibrating, Mam, me, Krishna, Anusmaran, remembering, Ya, anyone who Prayadi leaves, Dejam, putting, Deham, the body, Sa, he, that achieves, Paramam, the supreme, Gadim, destination. Translation by Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the scared symbol Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet. Hare Krishna. Purport. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound of Hare Krishna contains Om. The chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body, at the end of his life chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mode of his practice. The devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet Golok Vrindavan for the personalities. Though there are also innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planet in the spiritual kind, whereas the impersonalities remain in the Brahma Jyotir. Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. The impersonalists will remain in Brahma Jyoti. That is why Brahma Jyoti is not something that we want to aspire for. Why? Because that is also not a permanent place. Right? We studied the other day how Sat Chit Ananda. In that only Sat feature is assimilated or is understood. In this, only the Sat feature is actually enabled for the in the Brahman realization, right? So if you want to realize the Bhagavan realization, which is the ultimate understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we need to understand the Bhagavan form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that means what? The understanding that the Lord is a person, the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is my duty to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this way, when I chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, knowing well that the Lord and His holy names are non-different. Nama Chintamani, Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. He is a personality who also exudes so many transcendental rasas. Right? Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinnatva Nama Namino. The name and the form are non-different. Abhinnatva, Nama, the holy name, and Namino. That means the person whose name it is and his name are non-different, right? Prabhupada gives an analogy or an example in his lecture how when we say if you are very thirsty, if you say water, if we japa of water, will we quench our thirst? Water, we'll feel more thirsty, right? Because you're just shouting something, after if we keep our mouth closed, at least we'll get some energy, we can save up some energy. But that's why the things of this material world, the object and their name are totally not related, right? Prabhupada gives example. I'm not able to recollect the name, but at least in Tamil, somebody is named Kannairam. That means what it means? thousands of eyes. Okay, that person may be blind, you know, and somebody may be named okay, I'm not able to think of any name. Okay, so you know the exact name and its meaning, they don't go well at all. Any name anybody is able to suggest? Okay, forget it. Okay, so in this way, in this material world, like water is a very good example in itself, right? Just when we chant the name of water, we don't quench our thirst. But then spiritual objects and the spiritual, the name of the object, right? They also, they are one and the same. That's what is also mentioned in this verse, isn't it? That means when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we are in personal association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord and his name are non-different, whereas the same is not true for all of our material objects, right? The name and the person are completely different, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Mataji, the first reader, are asking, what is this? Aragan, yeah, Sridhar Prabhu is saying. Aragan means, and that is also a Tamil name. Okay, any Hindi or Sanskrit will be nice, because most of our audience are not Tamil. So Aragan means very beautiful, you know, but the child may not be actually beautiful, right? Even, you know, they say that even the crow will find its own baby beautiful. So so the parents will always find the child beautiful. They will name Aragan or whatever. But then the child may not be beautiful, you know, in the terms of the term beauty as per the definition. So in this way, only the Lord is called Bhagavan, right? As per the definition also, he is the possessor of all the opulences. Like that. Oh, okay. Sanskrit text, all right. Okay, let me okay, text number 14. Okay, let's move on to text number 14. Okay, and one more thing here is impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, right? When we see that, when we understand that Krishna's form is the supreme most, we should also understand that Krishna's name is more merciful than Krishna himself, right? Because as we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we become closer to the form of the Lord, right? And while in this age of Kali, it is very, very difficult to understand the form of the Lord. It is very easy to understand and chant the name of the Lord and beg for service to the Lord. So in this way, we get not only understanding of the form of the Lord, we also get an opportunity to serve the Lord, right? Otherwise, mere understanding of the beauty of the Lord is of no use, right? If we may understand the Lord is very beautiful, the Lord is very great, the Lord is wonderful. Okay, so what are you doing about it? Right? You know everything, but is my life transforming that I'm serving the Lord or his devotees? That is very important. That is why the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is very important, because when we chant, all the anarthas get purified, and then we develop the taste to render devotional service to the Lord and his devotees. So in that way, the Nama is more Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna has descended in Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. Hence, we should take advantage of the holy names of the Lord. All right, let's move forward. I've just given the Sanskrit text also. Those of you want to read Sanskrit, text number 14. Rajneesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat. Ananyacheta
Satatam
Yoma Samrati Nityasaha Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nityayukta
You're not audible. Is it a problem with mine again? One second.
Now it is audible.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay. Ananya Cheta, without deviation of mind, Satyatam, always, Yah, anyone who Mam, me, Krishna, Samrati, remembers Nityasa regularly, Satya to him, Tasya to him, Aham, I am, to Lubha, very easy to achieve. Partha, Osana Pratha, Nitya regularly, Vekusya engaged, Yogi Naha for the devotee. Translation. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement of in devotional service. Perfect. This verse especially describes the final destination attained by the unallowed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Previous verses have mentioned four different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, but this verse particularly mentions pure bhakti yoga without any mixture of jnana, karma, or hatha. As indicated by the word ananya chetaha, in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, or does he seek oneness with the Brahma Jyotir, or salvation or liberation from the material enlargement.
Is there
Sorry, a pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahma Jyotir, or salvation of liberation from material enlargement and entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Nishkam, which means he has no desire for self-interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Whereas Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, or Hatha Yogi has his own selfish interest. The perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to him, he is easy to attain. The pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of his various personal features. Krishna has various planetary expansions and incarnations such as Rama and Narasimha, and a devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of thought. Such a devotee means with none of the problems that plague of practitioners of other yogas. Bhakti yoga is very simple and pure, very easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, he is especially inclined toward those who always serve him without deviation. The Lord helps such devotees in various ways as stated in the Vedas. Katha Upanishad 1.2.23 Yam Avas Yam Avasya.
यमेवैष वृणुते तेन लभ्यस् यस्यैष आत्मा विवृणुते तनुं स्वाम्.
One who is fully surrendered and engaged, one who is fully surrendered and engaged in devotional service of Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as he is, as and as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Dadami Buddhi Yogem Tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that Ultimately, the devotee can attain him. The special qualification of the
Okay,
pure
Hare
devotee.
Krishna Prabhu. We'll ask someone else to read.
Hare
Okay, let's.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Where should I start? From where should I start, Mataji? Hare. Unmute, please unmute yourself, Mataji. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that.
Okay, Mataji, got it. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived. But a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. It was Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan. A pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates on him. There are qualifications of the pure devotee for whom the Lord is most easily attainable. Bhakti Yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the Bhakti Yogis are engaged in 5 different ways. Santa Bhakta, engaged in devotional service in neutrality. Dasya Bhakta, engaged in devotional service as servant. Shakha Bhakta, engaged in friend. Vatsalya Bhakta, engaged as parent, and Madhurya Bhakta, engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord. And so, for him, the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. And similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. This is the great blessings of the Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Mataji. So, in this verse, very beautifully, Prabhupada makes a point here that a pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord even for a moment. And the Lord also cannot forget the devotee even for a moment. So, this is the greatest blessing. Right? Smartavya satatam vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit. Sarve vidi nishedhyasur etayor eva kinkaraha. All of the do's and don'ts that we practice, all of the yama and niyama that we follow, they're all servants of these 2 principles. What are those 2 principles? Smartavya satatam vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit. Sarve vidi nishedhyasur etayor eva kinkaraha. Right? Smartavya, always remembering Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit, never forgetting Krishna. Sarve vidhi, all the rules and regulations that we follow are etayor eva kinkaraha. These are servants of these 2 principles. Servants means what? They have to satisfy these 2 principles. What are those 2 principles? Smartavya satatam vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit. Always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. These are the essential principles that we need to remember when we are practicing devotional service, because this is the goal of practicing devotional service. All right. Let's move ahead. 8.15. Yeah. And also in this purport, Prabhupada also talks about the various rasas, right? The Shanta rasa, Dasi rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhuri rasa. Why does Prabhupada talk about that? Because only when there is some mellow or exchange of in a relationship, then only we understand what is the meaning of love, right? Prabhupada says, to love means to serve, and to serve means to please, right? That means what? I love somebody, but I don't do any work, right? I will love you. I love you. That's all. Just saying, right? What use is that? No use, right? So, if we love someone, then we have to serve that person in a way that pleases that person, right? Otherwise, there is no meaning to love, right? So, in this way, his name is Radhanath Swami Maharaj also. There is a very beautiful quote where Maharaj also says, to love means to please. To love means to serve, and to serve means to please. Not that I will serve however I want, right? As Grace Radhesham was giving a very nice example. If somebody comes to the temple and we are assigned the opportunity to serve that guest, right? So we can either not satisfy the guest, or we can satisfy the guest, or we can please the guest, right? He gives an example also. For example, if you are serving all the items and we miss that particular person, we don't give gulab jamun to that particular person. Maybe that person is waiting for the gulab jamun only. Somehow we skip giving gulab jamun to that particular person. So the person is right. Mujhe nahi mila, right? And then what happens? Second level is you serve that person gulab jamun. He's satisfied. Okay, acha hai. Prasadam, aiye, badhiya prasadam. Then how do you please that person? You understand that person. When you're serving, you understand what is the person needs from his expressions. Like, for example, when you serve a particular item, that person is happy, is smiling, or, is eager. Then you understand, okay, this person likes this. And you come for a second serving, you give that person another gulab jamun. And that person is like, wow, there is wonderful seva here. Isn't it? So, it is not rocket science. That person, need to tell you, right? But people whom you want to please, you will know. You will get to know somewhere or the other what they like and how we can please them. So whomever we want to please, we understand, we go the extra mile, find out, and we serve them. So serve, satisfy, and please. Yeah. So what do we want to do? We want to serve and satisfy, and also not remain at the level of satisfying them, but also we want to please the devotees and our gurus and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let's move forward. Text number 15. Monimala Mataji, you already read, right? Sudha Mataji. Monimala Mataji, you read just now, right?
Mataji want to read Mataji 15 slok.
Okay, read.
Want to read Mataji 15 slok. Mataji, can I read?
Yeah, read.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. Mam upetto punarjanmo dukhalayam ashashyatam now apluvanti mahatmanam sangsiddhim paramam gata. Mam, unto me, upetya, achieving, puna, again, janma, birth, dukhalayam, place of miseries, ashashyatam, temporary, never, apuvanti, attain, mahatmana, the great souls, samasiddhim, perfection, paramam, ultimate, gata, achieved. After attaining me, the translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Perfect. Since this temporary material world is full of the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, naturally he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as beyond our material vision, and it is considered the highest goal. The Mahatmas, great souls, in bracket, receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees, and thus gradually develop devotional service in great consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They only want Krishna's association and nothing else. Such great souls in Krishna consciousness attain the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the supreme souls. Thank you, Mataji. Thanks a lot. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So here, what are the essential things that are mentioned by Prabhupada here? Right. Very importantly, Prabhupada is saying a devotee only wants Krishna and Krishna's association. Because is there a difference between Krishna and his association? No. With Krishna also we are going to glorify the Lord also, and in the association of devotees also we are going to glorify the Lord only. Machittamat kata prana bodhayanta parasparam kata yantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So in the association of devotees also we are glorifying the Lord, and when we are in front of the Lord, in front of the deities also we are glorifying the Lord. So is there a difference between the Lord and the Lord's devotees association? There is no difference. Why? Because the same activity is being done. Because in the presence of the deities and the presence of the devotees, what are we doing? We are remembering the Lord. We are glorifying the Lord. And that is the perfection of the jiva, right? Because it takes one to Avyakta, Akshara, Paramagati. What is that place? Goloka Vrindavan Dham, where one can be in the association of devotees in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, let's move forward. 8.16. Okay, we can memorize this verse for today, this week. Yeah, we can memorize this verse. This is a nice verse, which indicates the temporariness of even Brahmaloka. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Pranam.
Mataji.
Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartino Mapetya tu Kauteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Synonyms: Brahma Bhuvanat, up to the Brahmaloka planet. Loka, the planetary systems. Puna, again. Avartina, returning. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Mam, unto me. Upetya, arriving. Tu, but. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Puna Janma, rebirth. Na, never. Vidyate, takes place. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Purport. All kind of yogis, karma, jnana, hatha, etc. eventually have to attain devotional service in Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if on Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Baladeva Vidyabhushana, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse: Brahmana sahate sarve samprapte prati sanchare parasyante putatmana pravishanti parampadam. When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees, who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. Even if you go to the Brahmas, which is the topmost planet in this universe, right? Even if we go there, it is not a permanent destination. We cannot settle down there, right? We have to come back. Once we exhaust our desires, we need to come back, right? That is why even the denizens of the heavenly planets like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, etc., they also seek a human form in earthly planet, because in this earthly planet only we have sufficient dosage of happiness and distress. When we get distressed, we want to get so irritated and frustrated. Oh, I don't want to be here. I want to go back home, back to Godhead. And then we, with renewed vigor, we follow devotional service, especially when, the times are not so good, isn't it? In heavenly planets, there is too much enjoyment there. Even it is said that even the Indra and the Chandra and all the demigods also, they want to come to the earthly planet, because the atmosphere is best conducive in the earthly planet for us to practice devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. There is a proper mixture of enjoyment and distress that keeps us grounded, that keeps us go through the process of devotional service in the normal course of our life. There is not too much enjoyment. There is not too much suffering also, like that in the hellish planets, that there is no way we can even cultivate or think about performing devotional service. Right? So, from Brahmaloka also it is possible to cultivate Krishna consciousness and go back, but it is not practical because of a lot of enjoyments that are happening in the 7 planets above our earthly planet. Right? That is why it is best that we follow Krishna consciousness very nicely, perfect our lives in this lifetime, go back home directly, back to Godhead, rather than follow this process of going from one planet to another. We may just get stuck in one of those planets and we may not reach our ideal eternal destination like that. All right, let's move forward. The next verse is text number 17. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. 17, 18, 19, 20 will finish. Sindhu Mataji, Deval Mataji, Maushmi Mataji, Nagavani Mataji. Okay, according to the time also we see. Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
Pranams, Mataji.
Pranams.
17. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Viduhu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vido Janaha. Synonyms: Sahasra 1000 Yuga millenniums Paryantam, including Aha day, yet that which Brahmanaha of Brahma Viduhu they know, Ratrim night, Yuga millenniums Sahasrantam similarly ending after 1000, they the Aharatra day and night, Vidaha who understand, Janaha people. Translation, purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By human calculation, 1000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Purport: the duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in the cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice. And the yuga lasts for
17,28,000 years.
17,28,000 years. The Treta Yuga vice is introduced, and this yuga lasts for 12,96,000 years. In the Dwapar Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this yuga lasts for 8,64,000 years. And finally, in the Kali Yuga, the yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existent, and this yuga lasts 4,32,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki Avatara, vanquishes the demons, saves his devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas, rotating 1,000 times, comprise one day of Brahma, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculations total to 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. The casual Kaushal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord and the management of this universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet in the material universe and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all the inhabitants of Brahmaloka are subject to death according to the law of material nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. This is the extension of the same thing. Only that this verse describes very beautifully the length of Brahma's lifespan. Right? Brahma lives. It seems like interminable, but Prabhupada makes a very when one line Prabhupada describes it. What does he say? He says that this is equal to a flash from the eternity perspective. It's like it's as brief as a lightning flash, which is 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. It's like a flash when it's compared to the eternal lifespan, right? That means eternity. The Lord lives eternally. So Brahma's lifespan also is like a flash in front of that, right? All right. So let's move forward. Text number 18. Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, text 18. Avyaktadyaktayaः sarvaः prabhavantya aharagame ratrayagame praliyante tatraivavyakta sainjnake. Synonyms: avyaktat, from the unmanifest, vyaktayah, living entities, sarvaha, all, prabhavanti, become manifest, aha agame, at the beginning of the day, ratri agame, at the fall of the night, praliyante, are annihilated, tatra, into that, eva, certainly, avyakta, the unmanifest, sainjnake, which is called. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Hare Krishna Mataji. Should I continue the next verse? 8.19. Bhutagrama sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratragame vashapartha prabhavatya haragame. Synonyms: Bhutagramaha, the aggregate of all living entities, saha, these, eva, certainly, ayam, this, bhutva bhutva, repeatedly taking birth, praliyate, is annihilated, ratri, of night, agame, on the arrival, avashaha, automatically, partha, O son of Pratha, prabhavati, is manifest, aha, of daytime, agame, on the arrival. Translation: again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila
So we'll ask
Prabhupada
someone
ki
else to
jai.
read the purport, Mataji.
Yes, okay, Mataji. Yes, sure. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Maushmi Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Yes.
The less intelligent who try to remain within the material world may be elevated to higher planets and then again must come down to the planet Earth. During the daytime of Brahma, they can exhibit their activities on higher and lower planets within the material world. But at the coming of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night they are no longer have bodies but remain compact in the body of Vishnu. They are manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. Bhutva
Bhutva bhutva praliyate.
During the day they become manifest, and at night they are annihilated.
Helplessly annihilated.
Ultimately, when the Brahma's life is finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. And when Brahma is born again in the another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, they are captivated by the spell of the material world. But those intelligent person who take the Krishna consciousness use the human life fully in the devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These
Thus they transfer themselves.
Thus they transfer themselves even in this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirth.
Very nice. Thank you so much. So, what is the formula that is given by Srila Prabhupada here? How we cut this travel from one loka to another loka and be rotating in this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi from one species to another, from one planet to another. Bhutva praliyate. How to escape this bhutva praliyate? Simply by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, especially with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, let's move on to text number 20. Nagamani Mataji, please go ahead, read the words. Hema Mataji, please read the purport. Nagamani Mataji. Okay, Hema Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, please read text 20, synonyms and translation. Hema Mataji can read the purport. Yes, go ahead.
Parastasmatu
Hare Krishna.
bhavan bhavan.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, you'll read the purport. Hold on.
Okay.
Mataji, you please read no Mataji the Sanskrit.
Okay. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanah yah sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Synonyms, word to word translation. Nagamani Mataji.
Yeah, you want me to read Mataji? I thought that Mataji is reading.
Synonyms.
Yeah. Paraha, transcendental, tasmat, to that, to, but, bhava, nature, anya, another, avyaktat, to the manifest, sanatana, eternal, yasa, that which sarveshu, all bhuteshu,
Sarveshu, all bhuteshu manifestation.
Bhuteshu manifestation.
Nashyatsu.
Being annihilated. Never. Vinashyati is annihilated. Translation Srila Prabhupada ke dwara. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is external and is transcendental. Eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Purport Srila Prabhupada ji ke dwara. Krishna's superior spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter.
Thank you, Mataji. So here the energies of the Lord are being described. Right? What are the energies of the Lord? We already saw. Daivi Hayesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duradhyaya Mamevye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So the material nature is also the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why we are Tatastha Shakti. Right? So being Tatastha Shakti, we cannot control the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord. But then if we surrender to the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord and engage in devotional service, then automatically we will be able to overcome the threefold nature of this material world. And in this way, we will also cut the cycle of again being born in this world, again being diseased, again getting old age, again dying, reborn, rebirth in another, taking another body, right? So from this cycle, we can cut ourselves through if we engage in the process of devotional service. Okay, we'll end with text number 21. Hema Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes.
Avyakto Krisara Itya Uttas Tam Ahu Paramam Gatim Yam Prapya Na Nivatanete Tad Dharma Parmam Mama.
Synonyms: Avyaktaha.
Avyakta, unmanifested. Aksara, infallible. Iti, thus. Akta is said. that Ahu is known, Paramam, the ultimate, Uttam, destination, Yam, which Prapya, gaining, Na, never, Nivyatante, come back, that, Dhamma, abode, Paramam, supreme, Mama, my translation. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, and one never returns, that is my supreme abode, purport. The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dharma, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka, Vrindavan, is full of places made of touchstones. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatable upon demand, and there are cows known as Surabhi cows, which supply a limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of future Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primal Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venam
Kwanantam.
Paramatam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of Mataji. I cannot see that.
Yeah, his transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds.
His eyes are like the lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of clouds. He is as attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron clothes, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka, Vrindavana, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Sumita, Vedic literatures, Katha, Upanishad 1.3.11 state that there is nothing superior in the abode of Supreme Godhead, and that the abode of the ultimate destination possesses the Na Param
Purushanna Param Kinchit Sa Kashtha Paramagatihi.
When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different,
the same quality.
Being of the same quality on this earth. Vrindavana, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a
replica of that supreme
Vrindavana, located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on the earth, he spotted on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavana, compressing about 168 square miles in the district of Mathura, India. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So very beautiful description of the Goloka Vrindavan Dham by Brahmaji, who's our Param Guru, right? Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So Brahma is giving so many descriptions of the spiritual world, so that we don't get attracted to the usury natures of this material world, but rather we get attracted to that supreme personality of Godhead's abode, Goloka Vrindavan Dham. She says, Chintamani Prakrasadmashu Kalpa Viksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabir Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Chintamani Prakara. Right? They're all touchstones in the spiritual world. Right? If you want anything, you just got to go and touch, and then we'll get it. right? But fortunately, the devotees don't want anything for themselves, right? They want everything to be engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Laksha Prateshu Surabhi Rabi Palayantam. That's the Laksha. Laksha means in lakhs, in crores and lakhs, Lakshmis are there. And Surabhi cows are giving unlimited supply of milk. Lakshmi Sahasra Sambrama Sevyamanam. To that Govinda, who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adi Purusham, Tam Aham Bhajami. I pay my respectful obeisances. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayaksham, Barhavadam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam, Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Visesha Shobham, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. We sing these verses in the morning during Darshanarati, isn't it? Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayaksham. Aravinda means lotus. Right, Barhavatamsam, a beautiful peacock feather is actually placed on his crown or on his that headband, as you say, right? The Gopas wear that. So in that there's a nice peacock feather that's stuck to it, right? Barhavatamsam asitam sundarangam kandarpa koti kamaniya visesha shobham, and he's looking so beautiful with nice yellow garments. He's attracting all the cupids of all the worlds. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Visesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So in this way, so many verses. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Each verse actually talks about the glory of Lord Krishna. Advaitam Achyutam Anadyam Ananta Rupam. Advaita means there is no one else like Krishna. Krishna is just one. Right? We have also say Eko Bahunam Vidadati Kaman. The one Krishna is the maintainer. Everyone else is being maintained by Krishna. Advaitam Achyuta. Achyuta means infallible. He never fails in his affection for his devotees. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim. He does not have any source because he is the source of everything. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. Right? It is said that even Ananta Shesh cannot count the forms of the Lord. Right? Even those incarnations mentioned in the Bhagavatam, first canto. It also says that these are only some of the main avatars, right? Like J.D. Goswami has written the Dasha avatars. Doesn't mean the Lord has only 10 avatars, right? The Lord's avatars are innumerable. However, the predominant incarnations are what is described in Bhagavatam. But as we speak, the Lord must be performing some Leela in one of those universes. And the glory of the Lord keeps enhancing. His Leelas keep expanding. Like that. Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yauvanam Cha. He is the oldest personality, right? He only created, he is the maintainer, he is the destroyer, everything. Right? He employs his agents to do work for him, but he is the Supreme Lord. Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yauvanam Cha. He is eternally a handsome youth in the prime of his youth. Nava Yauvanam Cha. Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. If we memorize all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, we cannot understand Krishna. But if we perform devotional service in the mood of love and devotion, then we will be able to understand Lord Shri Krishna. Vedeshu Durlabam. Very difficult to understand through the study of Vedas. Durlabam Atma Bhakto. One who renders service without expecting any return from the Supreme Lord. I want this, right? Maybe we'll get that only, right? When we ask for name, fame, glory, wealth, etc. Maybe we'll just get that. But Krishna can give us Krishna Prem. So let us not ask anything. Krishna will give us much, much better than what we can even conceive and ask for, right? Vedeshu Durlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I pay my respectful obeisances under that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, who is the source of all creation, all annihilation, all maintenance. Right? So with that, we come to the end of our Bhagavad Gita session today. My sincere gratitude to all of you who are joining us every day. Quickly, we'll do Harinam Sankirtan, and then we'll see you are all there. And then if anyone has a question, you may raise your hands, and then we'll take 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll end our session. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shotarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jagannatha Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana, Jaya Bala Gopal, Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari, Radha Govinda, Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Madhava, Radha Sham Sundar Radhe, Jaya Guru Parampara, Jaya Shad Goswami, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Devanitai, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। कलियुग पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। Hare Krishna. So I'm seeing Sri Prabhu, Rohini Mataji, Moshmi Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Sindhu Mataji, Monimala Mataji, Vijayalakshmi Priya Mataji, Varshabhanami Mataji, Vanmali Prabhu, Rishabhanu Kanya Mataji, Karpagavalli Mataji, Anchana Mataji, all our regular everyday devotees who join us for the morning program, who join us in the afternoon. So my sincere gratitude to all of you. Because of you all, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We are able to chant during Brahma Muhurta. Thank you very much for joining us and inspiring us by your transcendental association. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So everyone can unmute themselves now. In case of any queries or anyone wants to share any realization, you may unmute and ask. Anyone? Anything? Yeah, Moshmi Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, Krishna and Radha is so beautiful. Whenever I change Radha Krishna's dress, it looks like just like a sun blooming in the sky. It looks so beautiful. In front of that, I feel I am a so molecular particle that I don't have anything in myself.
Yeah, that's the attitude of a devotee. Yeah, but we give our best to the lordships, and the Lord accepts our bhava, our love, our devotion. In this way, the Lord will provide us with more and more resources. We want to serve the Lord more and more. The Lord will give us more and more skills, abilities, resources, strength, ability, desire, everything. The Lord will reciprocate in multiple times more than our desire. So whatever we have now, we engage in the service of the Lord and then wait for Lord's mercy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing the realization. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Anything? All right. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Anant Kochi Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you.